In this lesson, we're going to be using Burp Suite to do some active scanning. Now, before we do active scanning, one of the things that we probably ought to do is do a spider. If I right-click on my target host here, I can do a spider. Now, it's telling me some of these are outside the current spidering scope, and so I want to modify the scope, and it's going to bring open this form over here. And actually, I want to plug in some values. And I'm going to say the password. Now I'm going to submit that form. It's going to keep asking me about all of the forms and put in the different values that I want to submit there. So in the case of a form that logs you into a site, you probably want to put some values in, so that it can actually get authenticated and stay authenticated to the site as you're going through the spider and the scan. These other ones, I don't care so much about what the values are, I'm just going to let them go. So we're going to keep submitting those. The scope has been modified and it's added this entry here. So the IP address and then port 80. And that's the scope that I want to allow to be worked on at this point. We've got a whole lot of new pages that it's found as part of the spider, and I could actually go over the spider and see whether there are any pages that are still queued up. And we see the request queued is 0. So I've got all of the pages, the spider is complete. Now what I want to do is actively scan this host. And it's going to give me some options here, whether to remove duplicate items, and I probably want to do that. And I could remove items with the following extensions. So I could get rid of JavaScript, GIF, JPEG, PNG, and CSS. And actually, I want to get rid of all of the images. I don't want to do those, but I do want to take a look at the JavaScript. So I'm going to click Next there, and then we're going to go do the scanning. And we've done some changes to the scope, that's okay. And we're going to go take a look at the scanner now. And we still have the login vulnerability. So the clear text submission of password, that's what we got from the passive scan. And now we've got some additional vulnerabilities. And you can see it's just showing the tree of the site. So we've got the site here, and then there's the directory DVWA, and then there's another one, vulnerabilities. So DVWA is a vulnerable web application, so we ought to find some vulnerabilities here. Here's the brute force, and there's a clear text submission of password, and a password field submitted using the get method, which is a possible cross-site request forgery vulnerability. And we've got some clickjacking possibilities here. And what else do we have? So the clear text submission of password. Same thing here, clear text submission of password. Now we can take a look at the scan queue. You can see that there are still a number of pages that are left to check on, and you can see right here in the issues column, we can see the number of issues that were found and the requests that were made, and you can see in the status column how far along we are. So we're still 20% left on the setup.php, and we're 84% complete on the index.php. As we go through, it shows you how far along on each page or directory it is, and then we've got all of the waiting ones still. This is active scanning using Burb Suite. And the active scanning really isn't the end goal here. It's nice to have something automated so that you don't have to go clicking through all of the things yourself and doing a lot of manual tests. But this is really just a starting point. This is going to take some additional manual checking to see what we can do beyond that. This is just going to give you a list of possibilities. And beyond that, we need to be doing some additional testing manually or using some additional tools and seeing what we can do with it. So it's good to use Burp Suite as a starting point, but this is not the end of doing web application testing. And we're going to be looking at how to use Burp Suite for some additional testing possibilities coming up in the next lessons.